Hey everybody, BGG here. Everybody having a good night? We'll give you a few minutes. I'm gonna get. Can you see it yet? Okay, it'll take a second. Here we go. We got one person on. Hello. It's gonna be a couple minutes before everybody. We're gonna give everybody a few minutes to get on. And how's the sound? Good? Give me a thumbs up. Hello, hello.
Excellent.
There you go. There's some people.
Okay, now I got it.
Hey, Daryl. It's really, by the way, if I don't get you, it's really hard for me to see from here.
They're coming in.
Yeah. Over to there. So that's what that's about. You know what? For the recording, let me do this. I'll get back to some comments here in a second. I've got a bunch of stuff to cover. Sorry, I had some technical issues here. I was trying to get some information compiled that you guys will like, because I'm going to dispel some junk. There's a ton of that going on out there right now. Hey, Oki, Dinar, ton of that crazy stuff going on out there. So just and that's a lot about what tonight's going to be out, what's really going on, and the gibberish. You know what? Let me get started the way I normally do. I want to make sure that I say thank you to all the people at Dinar Updates that make. She is huge development, by the way. She is going to be on camera. She decided this on her own. I had nothing to do with it. Not tonight. It's not tonight. We talked about it. She thought it would be wonderful. And she's laughing really hard now. She's kind of on the fence. She doesn't know. She saw it happen. She kind of... See, that's the fun part. Right there, the little... all the gestures you're making. They're going to get to see that. Yeah. It's going to be hilarious. She's awesome. You know what? She literally... she has this little Border Patrol hat she wears everywhere where we go around town. Just scares people to death. I have some of my best friends are Hispanic Americans. They're here legally, but like she's sitting there and they just walk by her, look at the hat, and they just crack up laughing. It's the funniest thing you ever saw. It's a cool hat, and she just likes it because of the color and it fits. But ladies at the bank actually kind of look at her weird, like, is she really or isn't she? It's funny. Anyway, getting back to it, she decided on her own she's gonna. I may have encouraged her a little bit. No, it was fun. It's going to be fun. People are going to love it. Anyway, thanks to everybody on Dinar Updates who makes this website what it is. We would not be what we are without every single one of you. We appreciate it. And I hope that we're not here much longer, but that we somehow manage to stay a team, and there's tons of opportunities afterwards. There's going to be the whole exchange process. It's going to be a long. It will not be the falling off a log thing that that everybody imagines. You know, so you're gonna want to stay tuned to Dinar Updates and on the Deuce list. What's with the 5-day vacation? That's funny. I'm going to try and stick to the script as much as I can. I appreciate those comments. If I miss you, I'll try and come back later this evening and answer some of those, you know, in...
That was an article on the forum. There was an article about the 5-day vacation.
Oh, thank you for that. She's helped me with what that is. I thought you meant me. No, I'm not on vacation. And don't worry about that. It's because I'm going to cover exactly what they've already said. Forget the 5-day gig. Vacation doesn't matter. No big deal. They've already told us. I talked to you about it on the 9th. I'm going to just debunk some junk that came out on the 10th and some of the stuff that's coming out recently. We're going to cover that again. We're going to recover it. I'm going to give you the list, what exactly the list says, and the list doesn't have the 5-day vacation or Article 140 or any of the other stuff these guys are telling you. It's not on the list. So Thanks to the mods, the copiers, the chat people, all the Facebook people. If you haven't hugged your Facebook admin yet, make sure you do that. And don't be weird. Just say thanks. Where are we at? Before we get going, a bunch of people joining. Thanks for all the questions. What's the news? Is there any closer? Yeah, we're closer. Have you not read the news? And that's what I'm going to talk to you about. You need to read the news. Go to the current Iraq news thread. Go to the blog. Go to the Observer. Lots of people dig up news. And one thing I'm going to talk about, this is the theme for tonight. This is the theme. You know what? Let's do something funny first. Before I just start whooping Fanny. This. Oh no, it doesn't work. No, it's not charged up enough. This is the taser. Will you go charge that for me real quick? In there. Yeah, just plug it in on the wall. Thanks, sorry about that. Sorry folks. That was gonna be funny. We'll do it later. That's the dreaded chicken taser that got me. Dropped me like a sack of potatoes. I wish it was like that and not even charged up, because I wouldn't, no big deal. But when it got me, it just lights out. Say goodnight, Louise. So anyway, here's a couple pieces of news. Hold the other end. Ha ha ha. Yeah, you did find us. Thank you. By the way, tonight I won't. I'm gonna really try and cover a bunch of information. So I'll acknowledge people. Thank you, but just blanket. Thanks everybody. Appreciate you all. The comments are just crazy. This thing is awesome, and you guys are awesome. I wish I could. I can't even see the comments coming from here. I can't see them on here. They're not real time. So anyway, and that's why you need to be right here with a thing so I can see. You need to help me, like put it in front of me and look. She's so good at that. Because she just told me, like, I didn't know, what I was doing. Somebody the other day was saying UN Chapter 7 bankruptcy, blah, 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 needs to be taken out of force before anything can happen. Listen, I've talked about this so many times. The UN Chapter 7 Charter, and that's exactly why the UN has any wrench in this thing at all. The IMF, UN, World Bank, they're involved. But the only reason they have any wrench at all is this Chapter 7 Charter is still in place. It is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere, and it has nothing to do with their currency or their, well, there's part of it that does, but they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do with the currency value without Chapter 7 isn't gonna matter at all. Here's why. Like a couple of days ago, when people were like, "Oh, Chapter 7, they're talking about blah blah blah." The Iraqis are saying they want to self-determine. Of course they want to self-determine. They're the biggest blowhards in the world. They can pass all the resolutions and all the pieces of paper around Parliament they want. When the United Nations is ready, they will let them out from under the Chapter 7 Charter. Currently, they will not, because the United States, all the major United Nations partners that matter want to be able to come and go and fight these terrorists at will. With this charter in place, Iraq is an open door. They can come and go however they want. We just sent more troops over there because we decided we were going to send more troops. We didn't have to ask nobody. We didn't have to have permission. Can we come in your country? We just rolled on up in there. Sending our 15,000. We're like, yeah, we're here. And we're going to, you guys apparently can't kill these guys. We're going to help you. So, for all, and that's just the common sense look at this thing. For all those people that are talking about, the Chapter 7, blah, 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 you're not using common sense here. The common sense look at it is the United States has some UN charter to be there. They're going to keep that, and they're going to roll up in there and do what they need to do, when they need to do it, how they need to do it, and this problem is going to get taken care of. They may well keep going into Syria. I don't know what their plan is, but I'm telling you, this Chapter 7 charter is going to stay in place. Now, Iraq isn't really, I don't think they're under any Chapter 7 sanctions right now. All the sanctions have been removed, but the charter's still there so that we can move troops around freely and at will. And by the way, that includes all the other UN partner nations that matter. But what they're not going to do is they're not going to take those Chapter 7 that Chapter 7 charter off and then have to go back to all these rogue nations and get them to vote the right way. They're just going to leave that in place. So that's what that means. Okay. There were a couple of comments on some of the baloney websites that I had made that they looked kind of sketchy, and I'm going to clean those up. Somebody on our chat room had said DinarUpdates.com, the chat room, our chat room. You can find it on the forum, DinarUpdates.com. At the top, there's new chat room. Click on that. On the blog or the Observer, there's a little link. You can click on that on your phone, get to our chat room. Somebody said, is there a new rate inside the budget? I said, there's no new rate inside the budget. In fact, in one of the and I'm going to cover that article again in just a little bit. In one of the recent interviews with a CBI official, they all but had said that it wouldn't happen that way, but they did give us an actual list of what was required in order for this to happen. And then somebody else made, just a blanket statement that said, so we're waiting on the Mosul liberation and then at RVs? And I said, well, that's, and I don't know if there's even a question mark. I think they just put a period. And I went, well, that's a pretty canned statement, and may not be all that far from the truth, but it's pretty absolute to say that. I mean, and what about the other currencies? Zim is dead. Dong is a long ways out, at best. That's exactly what I was saying there. So let's not infer anything other than what I said. Somebody was asking questions. I answered those questions as honestly as I possibly could. Mountain Goat came out, and by the way, I'm gonna spend some time on this because I gave a very good dissertation Facebook Live on the 9th of April. Mountain Goat came out afterwards, and it's almost like this person didn't even bother to read the source material before they started on this gibberish tirade. We're going to go back and cover this again. Today or yesterday or something, Mountain Goat came out that said, there was an article quote, and it's really cute how Mountain Goat has evolved over the last 3 or 4 years from the secret, double secret, super secret contacts that tell him, whisper sweet nothings in his or her ear, and then we are all the benefactors of that nonsense, to evolve to commenting on articles, which is, what we've always done, or for a long time. Mountain Goat quotes this article, and if you recall, go back a couple, maybe 1 or 2 times, I talked about this Hader Samari. I wore it out. Hader Samari, and why you would pick an article like this to comment on just shows a noobism, a noobishness that's just beyond description. Because I explained to you guys, I said, Hader Samari is either an Iranian shill, an Iranian sycophant, an Iranian plant, probably paid by the Iranian intelligence services. Wouldn't surprise me if the guy's even working for the... Wouldn't surprise me if he's sitting inside the Iranian intelligence services. That's how skewed this junk is. And let me put it another way. Let me make it really, really simple. If you follow Hader Samari on Twitter, the only thing it's good for is the maps and the pictures. Everything else is worthless. It's just twist. And I'll get to that in just a second. Mountain Goat quotes, Iraqi analyst Hader Samari believes that the latest move by the United States shows a strong indication, blah, 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 blah. Don't even quote Hader Samari. It just shows how dumb you are. Number 2, Iraq is witnessing the last battle to get rid of ISIL. Well, of course. Abadi just tweeted that. That's nothing new. But to refer to ISIS as ISIL, you're essentially in kind of a backhanded sort of way, and that is exactly what Hader Samari would do, and Mountain Goat is doing, because they've got their head stuck somewhere, is you're essentially, in a backhanded sort of way, denying Israel's right to exist. That's what that title is all about. Call them ISIS, call them Daesh, call them dirtbags, call them whatever you want, but don't call them ISIL. Everybody got it? Okay. And I'm afraid the rest of it isn't going to be that much more uplifting. But I'm going to give you the exact list that I gave you back on the 9th. Also, this article, this tirade that came out on the 10th, the day after I did that Facebook Live by Mountain Goat. By the way, one time a while back, a number of years ago, Mountain Goat comes out and says, I'm sitting here watching the blah 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 up on the mountains, and it's XYZ degrees and blah blah blah. And I thought, well, that should be easy enough to fact check. We got Google Earth, right? So I go click, 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 and I look and I'm like, there's no way. These weather patterns don't work. It's impossible. That temperature's off by 50 degrees. Then I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's go on either side of that time frame. Look a couple days ahead and a couple days behind. Nothing. Way off. Cloud cover was less than 5,000 feet, or the visibility ceiling was less than 5,000 feet, and the temperature was off by 50 degrees. And it's been reported or rumored that that person's IP address is somewhere like, yeah, that's funny, Paul, is somewhere on the East Coast, not in Bavaria or some whatever exotic country. Anyway, this tirade came out on the 10th, the very day after I did that. And this person talks about Article 140, actually, there being an agreement to Article 140, that they'll hold off until the ISIS problem is solved, and later on in the article that a body strongly suggests that they wait on any referendum until this crisis is solved. Listen, folks, it's almost like the person doesn't bother to read the source material. And that's my message for you tonight. Don't listen to anyone just based on their opinion. No matter how smart they sound, no matter what doctorate they have, no matter what kind of crap they write on the internet, no matter what kind of letters they put behind their name, read the source material. Read it for yourself. It's hard. I understand. Sometimes I have to read them 2 or 3 times. You should read it a couple of times and know what you're talking about. It's your investment. We put it out there for everybody to see. You read it. Follow along. Because it's like this person is commenting on these articles, and it's almost like they haven't even bothered to read them. That there's been an agreement reached to reactivate Article 140. There's no such thing. If you understood anything about that, I've given dissertations on this over the last 2 or 3 weeks, a couple weeks, about the Article 140 and why it's not going to happen. It's rhetoric to keep the Kurds happy, period, and all the people in the Northern Territories. But until everybody moves back and everybody figures out what house they live in and they can take an accurate census, none of that's going to matter. Doesn't even matter. It's just rhetoric to keep everybody in place. And the rest of whatever a body says doesn't really matter. For the Kurds to actually do this, for it to all work out, they're going to have to have huge support from the IMF, from the UN, from the World Bank, from the international community. Iraq's got that support, and I'm not saying that the Kurds aren't going to have that support, but right now the world wants to see a unified Iraq, not a divided Iraq. So, this Article 140 business, this is craziness. And that article, like I said, that hater summary part, just imagine that guy's, like I said, if you follow him on Twitter, look at it for the pictures, look at it for the maps, everything else is just gibberish. It's so far Iran leaning, it's not valuable. You know, he goes on and on about what the popular forces are doing and how much damage they're doing to the enemy. I mean, now I don't know what they're doing right now, but 2 weeks before he started talking about that, there was all kinds of articles about the fact that they weren't letting any of the Shia militias even on the front lines because they didn't trust what they were going to do to normal Sunni citizens. So, just, anyway, moving on.
Someone does have a question.
Go ahead. Just answer it. Ask it for me.
Once we have a rate, how long do you think it will take the U.S. banks to get adjusted to the point of dinar holders trading in their currency?
We don't know. She read your question about once we have a rate, how long. We don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see till we get there. Just don't know.
And there's one other one.
Go ahead. Read it loud so everybody can hear.
What's your take on Article stating that Baghdad has to take a mandatory 5-day vacation. That was in there today.
So what? It doesn't really matter. Good. Take a vacation. I don't think it's going to matter. The two critical meetings, if you go back and you can go back and look at my Facebook Live from the 9th, April 9th. That's what I'm referring to here, because there's two critical articles that are in that time frame. Was the IMF end of mission report, where the IMF's managing directors wrote their end of mission report. That's a huge statement. If the IMF's managing director group has written their end of mission report in Iraq, what's the end of the mission? What happens next? Number two, they said that they had to deliver that to the IMF's executive board, that there was some discussion, some debate, and some voting to be done. What are they voting on? And that's the question. I'm not going to assert what they're going to do, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Anybody that says that they know, they're lying. That's not possible. Usually, some of the best researchers find out what they did a week later. But I did tell you back on the 9th that was a huge time frame, and that is the third week of April. As I recall off the top of my head, it was sometime in that third week of April, so we're right there right now, aren't we? It's 21. That's when they had to deliver that report to the IMF. What was the other one? The second huge article was this article. You know what? Let me get this title real quick. This is the title that, Mountain Goat chopped all up. Didn't even give you the title of it. The title didn't match. This is the director of the insurance department of the central bank, CBI official. Printed currency volume exceeds 11,600,000,000 dinars. Whatever. But the title didn't match the body of the article at all. Early on, said most of the central bank steps are subject to political and legal environment of the country, especially in regard to the deletion of the zeros. This guy is the worst copywriter in the world, the guy in Iraq that wrote this. This is terrible. I mean, he has no idea how to get ratings. He should have started off with RV, RV, RV. That'd been easier. But he didn't. So, let's jump over to that article, because there's all these things in red. You know what? Here we go. No, that's all about Article 140 and just blah, 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 blah. Didn't bother to read it all. Has no idea what's going on there. Okay. Key part, and we're going to get to some questions. I'm going to get done with this. I wanted to make sure that I got to this. Ironically, we did this on the 9th and the 10th. This big, long dissertation comes out. Key part of this article that I just the title was from. In fact, you can go back to the archives of the blog of April 9th, and I might have even published that article for a couple of days. I don't remember, but I do remember I did that flashcast live on that Sunday, and the huge paragraph here. The interviewer asked that particular CBI official, what about the deletion of the zeros and the reasons for the delay? Here is a gigantic flaw in Mountain Goat's kookiness. Why do we still wait for the RV? We know for a fact that the RV will result as part of the project to delete 3 zeros. Now, if you go back to one of the, in fact, do we still have Day Traders comments up today? Day Traders comments are still on the blog today. So you can go in any of the archives, go on today, yesterday, day before, and you can find Day Traders comments. A real life financial professional that's not sitting on some porch in some Neverland dreaming about stuff and looking at the clouds. Steve's real. He's legit. He knows what he's talking about. The way he read this and he dissected this article, he said, his words, value change starts everything. The deletion of the 3 zeros is not a result as part of the project or somewhere down, but starts. In fact, this article points that out. They're telling us that they're still delaying the project. Well, of course they were. They wanted to get it done right towards the end of the year. First part of 2017. They couldn't. ISIS, Daesh, scumbags, terrorists. A lot of other words, they hadn't dealt with them yet, not on the time frame that they thought. And no, these 6 reasons were clearly in the article. Nobody broke them out for anybody. The decision to delete the zeros cannot be taken in isolation from the political or legal environment in the country under current conditions. Exactly. And that's talking about, actually, I tell you what, I think the legal and the political environment are just fine. Number 2, the security situation as a result of the terrorist acts, that's talking about Mosul and the Northern Territories. The province is outside the control of the state for the years 2014, 15, 16, which is Mosul, Anbar, etc., 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 which presents certainty and to wait on the implementation of this project, meaning they're waiting until they get that handled. In addition to that, this must be done in coordination with all state departments and the private sector. That's the privatization of the economy, but after value change, where it should be followed by value changes followed by changing the paragraphs contained in the various laws, which regarding fines and lump sum collection of fees, and must also change the fiscal, financial, and statistical records in order to conform with the projects of the process of the deletion of the zeros. After. All that comes after. So you've got 6 things there. No Article 140. What was the other thing? None of these big things. HCL. No HCL. Did you see HCL in there? HCL? It's in there? No? Guess what? CBI official knows. And he didn't say that. So, if they didn't say it, guess what? All this talk on the internet, again, it's just people writing stuff down on pieces of paper. They can do it all they want, but the UN, the United States, is going to waltz in there and back out of there pretty much however they please. And I think that is it. I'm just going to say, oh, here we go. Yeah, I love this comment. This is just blooming wonderful. We seek to carry out an information campaign to distinguish between the original and the counterfeit currency. Mountain Goat says, here it is again, the need to conduct the information campaign to educate the citizens. Just like my CBI contact told me had to happen. Go figure. Mountain Goat is right again. Anybody that can read on the internet has seen the Dr. Shabibi interview from April of 2012. He said the exact same thing. None of you need a super secret CBI contact, which there are none. Horse pucky. This is a clean version. See, I did good there. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on here.
Here's another question.
Okay, go ahead and read the question.
BGG, what is your take on the lifting of the largest flag in Mosul and also the liberation articles this morning?
I think they're probably really close. I think we've got this time frame I talked about. I talked about the IMF. I talked about the IMF meetings here. Then you have that other huge meeting going on this week, and I forget what the heck that was. My brain is just foggy. That's why I was a little bit behind getting on here tonight. But there was the other big summit going on in parallel. So you got the IMF really is the driver. And they were having meetings with the IMF executive board. And you know what the other meetings were? Now that I recall, was the Iraq was back with the UN and the IMF negotiating more support. So that's kind of going on. There's several layers of there's at least 2 layers of meetings going on. One was Iraq meeting with the IMF. And I think the UN regarding international support right now. And then the other one, probably more critical, that they talked about back on the 9th and 10th was the IMF's World Bank and IMF. Yes, thank you, Matt. That's like a week from now, but the more critical meeting that they were talking about was the IMF Executive Board getting together and debate and vote on the IMF Managing Director's end of mission report, and that was sometime. They didn't come right out and say, I don't think they came right out and said what exactly the dates were. I believed it to be around the 3rd week of April based on some of their verbiage. I thought it seemed like it was around but I mean, they're not going to come out with a press release and say, "Hey, here's what we voted on." I'm just saying that was the inference I could draw from those earlier articles. So there are some commentary, and here's another one. I like this one. I wanted to. So you can go back to the blog, dinarupdates.com/blog from April 9th, and read that article again. Read your source material. It's your investment. You've got to read it yourself. You know, quit worried about some dangling on the internet. And that's why I always provide you with the links anyway, so you can read it. And I try and explain it in a way that that's easy to understand. Okay, I had somebody freak out on me. And this was back a few days ago. And they sent me this article that was actually out of our forum. But they're like, oh my gosh, the article title read, Deputy Profile Candidates for Succession in the Presidency is Maliki. And not even bothering to read the source material, immediately sends me an email. And, I mean, not like I have enough to do, but I get an email. You know, quick one-liner. Does this mean that Maliki's going to get back into power to be the next PM? Will this stop our investment? Because we all know he's a crook. Read the source material first. Click on. And in fact, this was taken off of like some screenshot or YouTube video or something. Go to Dinar Updates. Go to the source, find the link, click on it, ready. That had nothing to do with the Prime Ministership at all. In fact, what it really had to do with was it was talking about the fact, and it was talking about the succession for Maliki's current position, which is the number 2 in kind of one of the minor parties of the National Alliance. It wasn't even the National Alliance. It would be like, and really, it was the second in command. It wasn't even talking about Maliki's, it was talking about the presidency, not the head job in that political party. I mean, let me put it in context for you. A country the size of Texas, the third-ranked party, Democrat or Republican, Democrat, Libertarian somewhere down the road, not the first guy in the Libertarian Party of Texas, the second guy in the Libertarian Party of Texas. That's what this article was talking about. That's how far down the food chain this is. Quit sending me panic emails about, and you didn't even bother to read the material. Our people work really hard. We put it in there. I'm just trying to use a little humor to get you to understand. I mean, but that's the contextual look at what we're talking about in that particular article. Wasn't talking about the Prime Ministership. Wasn't even talking about the National Alliance head job, second job. It was talking about the smaller party inside the National Alliance. Maliki wasn't even the first guy. He was the second guy. And they were just talking, which happens a lot in Iraq. Okay. Where are we at? How long have we been going? Good. Hey, Cher. How you doing, Blue? Okie dokie. Parliament is changing the financial laws on Tuesday. If you've got a link for that or an article for that, amen. That's good stuff. But again, I mean, while we're close, while we're in the moment, we're in the window, a lot of things are happening right now. Anybody that's telling you on a specific day, at a specific time, or very specific at all, that's not a good thing. They're just messing with you. Don't let them do that. My advice. Don't have to listen. What are we going to do? Anything? Do you want to ask some questions? Okay, here. Go get the thing.
Oh.
We're going to have to work on our communication, our mind communication. We're going to have to work on that a little bit. Okay. Let's get to some questions. What about the 5-day big deal? Doesn't matter. Was it on the list? You answer your own question, Ed. Was it on that list? No. I think they could be a few days away anyway, personally. I don't think, if we're looking at the 21st, the IMF and the World Bank meetings are on the 28th, I think right now is a super, super hot time. I just think we're at the very beginning of that time frame. Here is still a no-go. I wonder if I touch it. I'm not doing that. Not enough juice. What a wimpy little taser. It bit me the other night. So, do I think we're in a hot time? Yeah. Am I saying Tuesday? No. So the goal is converting to about $1. Mark, I don't know what they're going to do, but if you go by what their articles have said, actually, I'll tell you what, the SIGA report. If you go to the current Iraq news thread, you go to the very beginning post every single news day, there's an excerpt from the SIGA report, tells you exactly what they intended to do back in 2012. I would expect them to reenact something similar. They thought about around $1. The Ministry of Planning's website has some studies that show their currency at around $1 for a period of time. So to answer your question, that's what I would expect. But who knows what they're going to do. Opinion on release of funds from Germany? Have no opinion. I'm just not even. I don't know that it'll happen. No, let me. I don't know when it will happen. I suspect Iraq will eventually get all of their funds. That was a misquote on my part, Matt. Sorry. I am excited also, Melody. Thank you for joining. Sorry, monitor. War room. Can you guys hear the fan? I need that fan. I can't do without the fan. It gets stuffy in here. Okay, no more questions? Going once? Going twice? No? Okay, we're in a hot window from, I don't know when, from and to, but I really felt like probably this third week in April, but just based on all the meetings that were going on. I mean, you got to ask yourself what does the IMF Executive Board got to debate? What do they got to decide? What are they voting on? What are they not voting on? Those are the questions, and they're not going to tell us. But they told us when. They told us what they're going to do. Now, exactly what they're going to do, that's another story entirely. No, Kaylee, thank you so much for being a great mod. And has she a mod over?
We need to make her
on
an official mod.
Chat room?
Yeah.
Yes, my bad. I'll make you an official mod on the chat room. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate the audio. What investments will I do after? We're looking at some interesting things. I'll be glad to share with everybody. Okay. It's really tough for me to read these comments, but I wonder if I couldn't. I wonder if I couldn't. I had a big tablet. Hi, Lana. Thank you. No, thank you, Lana. And all of our mods, chat copiers, people who help us every single day, our news researchers, our news hounds, all of our mod people on our Facebook group. Bobby Cahill, thank you. You have a great weekend too. And listen, Bobby, remember, bourbon is low carb, but too much bourbon is bad. Bobby, who, anyway, I'll leave it at that. Okay. Thanks everybody who helps out Dinar Updates. You guys are all awesome. Facebook crew. Facebook crew is magnificent. Pat, Mad Scout, you are the man. The man. We're close. It's right in the, you know, I would say if they're going to do anything significant, they're going to do it relatively soon. It's not going to be that long. Let's wait and see what.
Martha Sue.
Hello, Martha Sue. My oldest Dinar friend on record. Just so y'all know, she's known me as long as anyone except for Mrs. BGG. Okay. I think that's it. Is that a wrap? Is that a wrap? Thank you for tuning in to Dinar Updates, Flashcast Live, Facebook Live. We're going to do another one soon. Stay tuned to Dinar Updates, the chat room, the current Iraq news thread, dinarupdates.com, the blog, dinarupdates.com/blog, the Observer, the Facebook group. You guys, there's tons of ways to get news, places to get news. There's no need, and here's the word for tonight. Read your own source material. Read the whole thing first. Read it 2 or 3 times before you panic, before you send anybody an email, before you pick up the phone, before you go hunting around the internet for what some guru says. Read the source material yourself. Don't tell me it's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for everybody. Mrs. BGG, she reads all the time, and she will tell you she's not the best at it. Let me ask you one quick question before we go. Is Article 140 needed to RV?
No.
It's not. What? I thought it was. Some guy said it was. No. So that because you've read the source material, it makes you smarter than 90% of the Dinar community. Read the source material. She's awesome. I'm gonna try it next time. She was close this time. She was kind of real close. Thank you guys. Have a great night. Stay tuned. We'll bring you more Dinar news, Dinar commentary, and Dinar info as we're able. Have a great night.